chop all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night
vVv Gaming. So we'll have Time versus Darkcell in perhaps a final game here. Hopes Quantic Gaming.
Yeah, so Time spawning as the blue Protoss player. Darkcell once again sticking to the orange Zerg. So this will be Zerg versus Protoss. And will it be the final match, or will Time be able to give more time to vVv Gaming? We see Darkcell spawning on the top right-hand side of the map as the orange Zerg. Meanwhile, all the way across the map, we have Time spawning as the blue Protoss. So this is going to be a full cross spawn, and we'll see what interesting openings we're going to see from both of these players. Cross spawns does generally open up into a much more macro-friendly style. Time has a number of options that he can try to go for. He knows that Darkcell likes to go Zerglings and Banelings, at least against Terran. So if that's what he's comfortable with, I believe Guardian Shields and Guardian or Force Fields from Sentries will be able to stop that rather easily.
Yeah, you wonder if Darkcell actually goes for this Ling, Baneling, and perhaps Infestor style against Protoss. I'm not really familiar with his ZVP, but I think that's a pretty interesting and viable build at this point. Time placing down a pylon close to his Nexus, so we won't be walling off here, and most importantly, we'll not be going for that Forge First low ground expansion. So might be going for a one-base timing here, perhaps expanding just a little bit later, and we do see Darkcell going for a spawning pool first, as that's pretty much the correct play. You do not want to be susceptible to that wall off with the pylons and the cannons, even though there is the supply depot down on MLG Shakur's Plateau here.
Yeah, so with that spawning pool down, and that was a really early spawning pool, that was a 10 pool, so we'll see if how much damage is going to be dealt, as Time does not have a front door seal. This might be a problem. He's not going to have that gateway and Cybernetic core. He's not going to be able to have one Zealot hide in between two buildings and fend off against a very, very large attack. You can see a pylon now being set up over here by Time as well, not building anything at this ramp, and this may spell trouble depending on how many Zerglings Darkcell tries to go for.
Yeah, Darkcell does not have gas though yet, so he won't have speedlings. So it's going to be very difficult for him to stream these lings across the field and do a lot of damage in the early going. And we see just now adding the gas. I imagine he might be going for some sort of roach play here off one base. Not quite sure, as he has yet not really tipped his hand getting out that first queen. And we see the cybernetics core coming up from Time. No second gas quite yet. I've not seen what he's used this Chrono Boost on. I imagine it's just probes at this point, but he's going to get the full lay of the land of Darkcell's base at this point. He's going to see the extractor. He can click on that and know that it just went up, and we'll see what Darkcell goes for here.
Yeah, so Time now finally getting a pylon next to that front door. Time does have a probe advantage, 20 probes versus 16 drones right now. So he is winning in the economic war as two Zerglings now make their way across the map to perhaps do a little bit of scouting. There's going to be one Zealot standing next to a pylon thinking that he can do something there, but he's not going to really be able to do all too much, as a gateway or some other building needs to be added in just a moment. Perhaps a forge, or perhaps that critical third building that Protoss players go for. That third building is the all-important building where Protoss players finally tip their hand, and it is going to be another gateway, so it is going to be a 2-gate with a Cybernetics core, and that should mean a lot of sentries can be trained up with the addition of some Zealots.
So Darkcell going for the speed now, and he's doing a lot of great scouting with these Zerglings. He checked his entire base, made sure there were no proxy pylons. Now he's checking the natural of the southeastern position, as that's a very popular place to hide a probe or hide a pylon, as a probe of vVv Time is going to sneak right by that Zergling. So once again, going to be able to get in here and see the expansion for Darkcell. As you mentioned though, harvester-wise, it's 25 to 17. So that early pool and then the expansion and the early focus on gas really costing Darkcell in the economy at this point, and he is getting down that roach horn as I said he might, so he might be going for some sort of timing attack here with roaches and lings, and a very strong play against a fast expanding Protoss, but Time has not expanded yet.
Yeah, so taking a look at Time, Time is getting some additional sentries. He does have 2 gateways already upgrading into workdays. There's that Nexus that we mentioned just moments ago, and more sentries warping in. So with a lot of sentries, perhaps he will be able to split out that army, as we are now getting that other hatchery up and running, and Darkcell may be trying to do a 2-base timing attack with roaches, and that may deal a lot of damage. We'll see what happens as we are now getting 3 roaches queued up.
I like Time pushing out here, putting some pressure on his opponent, even though Darkcell is probably going to be making units anyway. If you can clean up these lings, take down, 4 or 5 so that later on Darkcell does not have those, it can be very good. Time just pushing out. He got all the scouting information he needed. He saw that Roach Warren. He knows that an all-in or a timing attack could be coming here from Zerg, and now these lings going to be pushing in here. They're going to see the timing on this expansion. They're going to see the pylons wall going down as well. Going to try to get into the main, but they're not going to be able to, as Time is going to be threatening with a force field here, and it looks like the Zerglings will be able to get in here, get all the scouting information they need.
Yeah, so Time now warping in a Stalker, the Zergling just running around like a cockroach, trying to figure out what he can tell the people back home as he's exploring time space. The Zerglings will get cleaned up rather easily, but those Zerglings move so quickly that it's rather annoying to try to clean them up and chase them. You can see Time taking some damage on that Stalker, but I believe the shields will be able to protect that Stalker there, and down to 10 shields, so no real damage dealt.
And most important there, Darkcell, with that scouting information, has decided to drone up. We saw 8 drones coming out there, another 4 on the way, so we will soon even things up in the harvester count. Right now it is 34 to 35. And we'll see if Darkcell decides to take the 3rd and 4th gas, or even a 2nd gas at this point, just running off that 1, and now pulled drones off of it, and now adding a few more, now finally adding that 2nd gas. So the game is shaping up here. Both players going back and forth. Darkcell already changed his mind on that early pressure, and at this point, both players just establishing their economy as we see more and more drones coming out for Darkcell.
Yeah, I like this play by Darkcell. Darkcell adapting to what he saw, realizing that his army is not going to really do anything against the sheer amount of sentries, force field, stalkers, zealots that Time has, especially with the level 1 weapons upgrade now being completed. Those zealots will be able to slice through those Zerglings much more quickly. We are getting an expansion here, so a 3rd base being established by Darkcell at the 4 o'clock location, and with the way that he's power droning right now, training up another 5 drones, he should be able to saturate all these bases rather easily in just a moment.
Yeah, and he's staying right on top of his macro as well. If you look at his queens, both very low energy, and right as the larva injects finishing off, they're going to have that 25 energy to inject again. I was about to make a comment that he's going to need some creep spread if he goes for a Hydra Roach play, and looks like he will be adding a Spore Crawler here, so this is a good play. He's going to be able to defend against any air pressure or DTs as well, as DT is pretty popular off this 2 base, and they catch you by surprise and take down a lot of drones. It can be very difficult for Zerg to deal with.
Yeah, Time also establishing a 3rd base as well, so Time not too far behind in terms of this base count war. Taking a look at the army compositions, Time does have a much larger army right now, but that's always the case, or usually the case during the early portion of the game, where Zerg really needs to respond to their opponent and figure out how large of an army they need to get. You can see 4 roaches, 5 roaches, and 8 Zerglings now being queued up, so the armies will start to balance out just a little bit more as a hallucinated Phoenix checking out this hatchery here at the 4 o'clock expansion.
Yeah, I like Time pushing out here. He's going to put some pressure on Darkcell. He's going to stop that droning for the moment, and he might be able to take down this 3rd. He's got a number of force fields. Darkcell does not have speed on these roaches yet, so he can't do much of a counter, and it looks like he will be sacrificing this hatch, perhaps getting a position here with these units to try to take down the army of Time, but instead going to be doing a counter here with these Zerglings, and he's going to be putting pressure on this 3rd. Does see that cannon, and Time able to take down that hatchery for free at this point.
Yeah, so a free hatchery has been taken down. Time now, and perhaps not wanting to do all too much as the Zerglings getting caught, they get caught in midfield, take a little bit more damage. The Stalkers do have blink, so they will be able to blink around. There's the force field. Roach is unable to squeeze through, as the Zealots are now actually trying to squeeze through. The Sentry should try to drop down another force field. The Roaches now continuing to come in as the Sentries are now backing off. We'll see what's happening over here. Zealots are now going to once again turn around there, and a little bit of a early engagement, nothing to really tip each other's hand or not enough losses, but Time is currently winning the battle at 350 resources lost compared to 1125.
Yeah, Darkcell winning in the overall unit station 121 to 112 with Time about to get his 3rd up and running. He needs to transfer some probes. Once he does feel safe, get maybe a cannon or 2 more to defend against that eastern flank. And he actually shut down the 3rd of Darkcell, which is exactly what you want to do against a Zerg player. That 2nd base is basically a foregone conclusion, but that 3rd base, all important, getting that 5th and 6th gas. And I don't think we have much of a lair tech coming from Darkcell at this point, just going for the speed on the Roaches, now going for Burrow, and melee attack level 2 coming for Darkcell as well. so he might still be planning for a Roach Ling timing attack here.
Yeah, what's going to be a problem, though, is that Time already has Colossus now being trained, extended thermal lance range, Chrono boosting the level 2 weapons upgrade, so those, I believe those Colossi will be able to one-shot Zerglings as well, as they deal 19 damage per attack. So yeah, 19 damage per attack, enough to shut down those Zerglings as they're trying to run in. There is an Overseer, and there are a decent number of Roaches, but with also an Observer in play by Time should be able to, at some point, push out, deny creep, and then move back and trying to just make it so that he can transition and slowly inch his way into Darkcell's base.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Darkcell to handle this robo-tech, as he does not have a Spire up, so he won't have those all-important Corruptors, and he is just now getting Ventral Sack. So if he goes for a Baneling drop here, you can take down the Death Ball that is the Protoss army. So it's really going to come down to micro once the Ventral Sacks do get up and those Baneling bombs come in, if he does decide to do that. But Time has the more formidable army at this point. He's got a lot of sentries here, 7 sentries, almost all with full energy. So he's going to be able to be the aggressor, and we'll see how Darkcell handles it.
Yeah, right now we still see Darkcell power droning, getting 10 drones, even though he already has a 63, so he will finally be able to surpass the 71 drones of Time. But Time does have a larger army, as level 3 weapons upgrade now coming online. Extended thermal lance range about to be completed, and I believe the timing on Time's timing attack will be executed shortly.
More puns coming with Time. I guess SC2 has a lot to do with Time and timing attacks and last bit of time and things like that. But at this point, it is pretty applicable, as he will be pushing out here. He's going to have 2 of these Colossi down, a third on the way. He's going to go ahead and clear out, perhaps for a 4th base here, taking down that Zergling, and then he's going to want to push out. He's at 180, the Zerg is at 183, and that's exactly when you want to hit him.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to be happening. You can take a look, even though the food count is about even, how much larger Time's army is, 5,400 with 2,400 gas. And with that much gas, that's going to be a problem. But the Zerglings are now going to try to do a run-by, and this may be a problem, as there's nothing really to defend over here. It's going to actually, no, not do a run-by. Got me all excited for no reason at all, as it's going to be a flank instead, as there are now a lot of Banelings currently trying to be hatched, and it looks like the Colossi will be able to take them down. Zerglings now coming in from the north. The Roaches getting stuck in a really, really bad position as a Baneling carpet bombing about to happen. The sentries are going to get all destroyed right there, but the Colossi and the Stalkers are still in position as more and more Banelings coming in, and now the Stalkers are trying to back off. There's 1 Colossus left, no more left, as this is going to become a battle of attrition. Who can micro their units better? And now pick off those units, able to get some damage onto some of those Roaches, as those Roaches are out of position there. And now the Stalkers, with I believe level 2 weapons upgrade, almost level 3, and now need to battle it out against those Roaches. The Roaches are not upgraded at all.
Yeah, the Roaches do have that speed, but we already see that Darkcell has the level 2 upgrades on the Zerglings and Banelings, and he had a lot of Zerglings coming out there. They're the perfect counter to those Blink Stalkers, and with just 1 Colossus out at the moment, it's going to be difficult for Time to handle this. He's going to have to respond with a lot of Zealots, but Zealots very weak against those Banelings. Once again, Darkcell loading up some Overlords here. And as I said, great control there, able to get that Carpet Bomb and take down all of Time's units in that initial attack.
Yeah, what's going to be interesting, though, is the addition of these Void Rays. Void Rays, obviously immune to all of the Zergling and Baneling antics, as 2 Void Rays now coming in, and now a quick Archon being merged in. And those Archons are going to be very difficult to handle as well, as carpet bombing is coming underway. It looks like it's going to be trying to hit the main base, but there's not that many probes there, so it really needs to hit this expansion at the 5 o'clock location. We'll see if Darkcell adjusts his carpet bombing. No, these are actually Roaches and not carpet bombing, so it may be able to shut down some of the production buildings.
Yeah, you definitely want to drop Roaches in. They can do a ton of damage, especially with Burrow. Unless you have good placement on cannons and on observers, it's going to be difficult to deal with those, as we see the Zerglings making their way into the 4th of Time. They're going to quickly focus down those cannons, as they do have the level 2 upgrades. The Zerglings doing 7 full damage, and Time going to try to respond with this, with some Archons as well as Blink Stalkers. He will be able to shut this down, but not before losing a lot of probes, as we see the Roaches in the main dropping and focusing on the production structures.
Yeah, the Roaches very, very smartly going after the Cybernetics Core. That is the all-important building that shuts down Stalkers, sentries, production there. The roaches are now trying to run away, but because of those Void Rays being able to move and attack, getting a lot of damage in here. The Zerglings still running by, able to get some damage. The Zealots trying to clean them up as the roaches now burrowing in the base. It's going to be some time before an observer makes its way over, but the roaches are there, clear and present danger against time.
Yeah, and the number of bases Time had at this point, he's got 4 bases. It's now a liability as he has to try to spread himself thin, and Darkcell is just so mobile with these very fast Zerglings and with the drops available with Banelings and Roaches in the main. As we see the 4th about to go down for Time, he's going to respond and take down all these Zerglings as they were able to take down the 5th as well. But he still has these Roaches in the main. He can just pop right up and still do a ton of damage, burrowing those Zerglings in the northern part, and Time is in trouble.
Yeah, normally at this stage, what I see coming in from Time is that Time just tries to almost do an all-in. Time does have a larger army at this stage, and he does have a little bit more room to maneuver in his food cap as well to deal damage. Those Archons are upgraded level 3, and this is a Protoss ball that you never ever want to see. So much of 1,100 or 1,200 resource army now making its way out. There are Infestors. The Infestors do not have Neuroparasite. And we'll see what's going to be happening here as the roaches, both sides dealing so much damage. Banelings coming in from the north, High Templars in the back as well. No Sidestorm coming in as the Colossi trying to finish off the rest of this battle over here. And there you go. You can see that Time has such a large army, and we'll see if he'll be able to continue to press with his Void Rays and his Colossus.
Wow, a lot of bit of missed micro there from Time. He didn't get any storms off. He could have taken down all those Banelings, instead losing a large portion of his army. It's going to be very difficult for him to reinforce this, but as he just strikes into the heart of the Zerg base in this natural, he's going to take down this hatchery as well as a ton of drones, and he's got these very powerful Void Rays and Colossus. I'm not sure that Darkcell has anything that can handle these Void Rays at this point. He's been all Roach and Infestor at this point. As you mentioned, he has no Neural Parasite, as we see 4 Infestors coming out, and Darkcell might be starved out. He's doing a lot of damage with Lings and Roaches around the bases at this point of time, but I'm not sure that the ball of Time here is going to be able to be taken down. This Infestor's getting off a number of Fungals, but the Void Ray is still going strong here.
And the Void Ray is getting off another round of Fungals, and it looks like a Queen going to be able to snipe down 1 or 2 Void Rays, and Infested Terrans coming in as well. The Infested Terrans dealing a decent amount of damage, and now I believe another Infested Terran shot there, as a Void Ray now tries to escape. The army of Time just dwindling as he's running out of time to try to do anything at all.
Yeah, Time has a number of High Templar in between his bases here as they are getting energy, but they're just not the right unit against these Roaches. Very hardy, 145 health. So we'll see whether Darkcell is able to push out here the 150 compared to the 99. Time in a lot of trouble. He has to defend this last base here, the 4th one. He's still mining off his 3rd and his 2nd as well, but a lot of damage has been done by these Roaches. Still in the main, now focusing down the all-important Templar Archives.
Yeah, Templar Archives will get taken down. The Roaches are finally upgraded 2-1. The Void Rays will be able to come in and now focus down onto those Roaches rather quickly. They do deal a fair amount of damage towards armor units, and there you go. There's the burrow once more, and with no observer nearby, an observer finally being queued up as more and more Void Rays are being added. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. Those Void Rays have a large amount of hit points, and they are able to deal a lot of damage, and it looks like Darkcell is trying to use Infestors to counter mass Void Ray play.
Yeah, and that's a lot of Infestors. He's got 14 on the field, 1 more coming out, so he's going to have about 15 Infestors, going to allow those to get a lot of energy. And if Time is able to use these High Templar to get some nice feedbacks off, you know, that could be the all-important factor in this next encounter. It's 177 to 115. Time is going to have to micro perfectly to get back in this game.
Yeah, we can see the Roaches are now trying to push their way over here. There is one Archon. That Archon should be able to deal a fair amount of damage. One Proxy Pylon does reveal where Darkcell's army is, and we'll see what's going to be happening here as this Archon pushes out a little bit too far forward, and it really needs to back off. And here you go. Where's those Sidestorms? Sidestorm 1. There you go. All the Zerglings just getting toasted there, and Archon getting destroyed as the Void Rays may be able to chase after those units there. In comes the Fungal Growth. Feedback hitting, Sidestorm hitting, and Infestors are very low on hit points. Infested Terrans are now going to be spawned. All of those Void Rays need to back off, but Chain Fungal Growth making it very difficult as the Colossus now backing off there. Roaches and those Infested Terrans caught off of Creep move very, very slowly, but it doesn't look like that Colossus wants to give chase right there. and the army on both sides taking a lot of damage, down to 1125 or 1600 resources versus 2375.
Yeah, the Darkcell is able to keep those all-important spellcasters alive. Out of about his 15 infestors, he still has 9 up. So he's going to allow those to get some more energy and then push out once again. The High Templar of Time did go down, though. So they got some nice storms there. Pretty good job with those. And he was able to thwart that attack, but still in a bit of trouble. He is getting up his northwestern position, but going to try to push out here and do some damage perhaps with these Blinkstalkers and the few Colossi that it does have. Yeah. Now we see a drop in the northwest.
Yeah, the drop in the northwest. There's going to be a lot of Zerglings and Roaches. It looks like it's just going to try to get some damage here, but the Stalkers have arrived, and now Zerglings and Roaches are both sides battling it out. The Colossus does appear just in time, as the Stalkers are going to be able to blink and maybe able to shut down some of those Overlords that are completely full. And wow, that was a little bit of a miss micro by Darkcell. Darkcell taking a little bit of more losses there, but now Zerglings and Roaches pushing over here at the center 5 or 6 o'clock expansion as the Zealots are going to try to engage. There are Infestors in the backfield waiting as the Colossus now coming over to engage. Level 3 weapons upgrade, slicing through those Zerglings, but the Nexus has been taken down.
Darkcell doing a beautiful job pulling his opponent into the northwest and then using his Lings and Roaches, and he actually had Infestors there as well if he even needed them, to take a free Nexus, so he was able to get a base of Time, and Time kind of falling into the 1A mentality or the single control group, but really you need to use it to try to handle the pressure that Darkcell has been putting on. Darkcell doing a nice job being the puppet master here and playing Time.
Yeah, this is just a really nice battle. Time really needs to figure out what he's going to be doing next. And he's finally replacing his Templar Archives. If you forgot, the Roaches were able to take down the Twilight Council and the Templar Archives, so that is why we haven't seen any High Templars in quite a bit of time. As Time now moves out with this army, there are 2 Void Rays in there as well, and we'll see whether or not the fungal growth coming in from Darkcell will be able to slow this attack once more.
Yeah, and Time floating about 2,300 gas. I think this Templar are going to be all important, especially because the Infestors are such a big part of the army of Darkcell, as we see a number of neural parasites as well as a number of fungal growths going off here. A lot of the Infestors do go down, though, so Darkcell losing quite a few of his spellcasters, but it looks like he will have Roaches and Lings set to clean this up, and a few Void Rays left over for Time, like most of these encounters have played out, but the Infested Terran for Darkcell are going to try to take those down.
Yeah, the Void Rays are now backing up. The Zerglings coming back in, but finding a Colossus and an army of Stalkers warping in just in the nick of, I hate to say it, as the Void Rays are now moving away once more.
And I think if Time's going to get back into this one, he has to do it with High Templar. They're going to have to get Storms, they're going to have to get feedbacks, and they're going to have to get in, or they're going to have to combine into Archons. He's got 2,300 gas now, getting 6 High Templar, so maybe reading my mind a little bit, but he's got to dump those minerals into something, get a big army here, hope to take down the army of Darkcell, as Darkcell's macro has been really good. He is not floating many minerals, so if you can take down that Zerg army, and he doesn't have a ton of minerals to reinforce, you can get right back in this as a Protoss in PvZ.
Yeah, right now, Time did take that center expansion at the top right-hand location, so we'll see if another hatchery will be placed down, as those Void Rays dealing so much damage, 25, I believe it's 25 damage a second, so 75 damage a second off of 3 Void Rays, able to shut that down rather quickly, and we'll see what both sides are going to be doing. Both sides having very large armies, and Banelings now being added as well. Those Infestors are going to be very, very problematic, though, as those Infestors, with the fungal growth and the neural parasites, we may see another drop coming in by Darkcell. So Darkcell attacking, doing a 2-prong attack here, trying to take down some of the production buildings. Some of these probes will get taken down as a main large army coming across the center.
Yeah, we see Time responding, trying to send his Void Rays to deal with those, but the Void Rays are not going to be able to charge up on the Zerglings. It's going to take quite a while to take down this force. The Zerglings are going to do a ton of damage, but Darkcell is keeping Time bottled up in his base here. He's got a Neural Parasite on this Void Ray, going to try to focus down an Archon, but he's moving in here with Roaches, Zerglings, and Banelings, going to try to do a lot of damage. The Fungals do go up, as well as a number of Neural Parasites, Neural Parasiting those Colossi, and able to take down all the Stalkers and the Zealots of Time. And now coming in with a ton of Infested Terrans as well. The Neural Parasite's about to run out, able to take down all the Colossi before they do run out. And now it's just a bunch of Roaches, Infested Terran, and Infestors trying to take down the remaining mining bases of Time. The the Zerglings finally were cleaned up by the Void Rays and the Colossi, but I'm not sure that Time is going to be able to recover from this one.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. Stalkers are now coming in. The Infested Terrans do have a timer on them, so they do not last that long. That is going to be a problem. As the main army of the Colossus and the Void Rays now coming back in, those Infestors do not have that much energy, and that may be the issue. If the Infestors don't have enough energy to really fight back here, some Infested Terrans are now just trying to move around. The Void Rays will be able to finish this off, and no Observer. So without an Observer to spot all of these Roaches and these Infestors, and it looks like Darkcell is going to get perhaps a little bit lucky. Is there an Observer in the field? No. No Observer in the field and no units being trained.
And this slight delay is going to give Darkcell the opportunity to once again get up a bunch of Roaches, Lings, and Banelings, reinforce this army. You really have to take advantage once you do destroy that Zerg army, or at least weaken it to push out and counter, but Darkcell, with that nice burrow, is going to be able to keep Time back into his base. Time doing his best to patrol a little bit with these Void Rays in the midfield, but he's not going to be able to do much damage, having to pull back once again, and now we see a bit of a pincher coming from the right and the left, and Darkcell ready to end this one.
Yeah, Darkcell now trying to push in. There are a lot of Infested Terrans. The Void Rays need to back off. They are now in open field, but another Fungal Growth coming in, and the High Templars don't have enough energy for a side storm. A Colossus trying to use the high ground, but no. Time just ran out of time.
Having to give the GG there, and Wednesday Night Starcraft, a first vVv Gaming going down to Quantic Gaming. Darkcell with the all-kill over 3 very strong Terran players and a strong Time player who we've seen have a lot of success in Wednesday Night Starcraft.
Yeah, so congratulations to Darkcell. Darkcell coming in with the all-kill as we go ahead and try to wrap up the rest, or just wrap up everything for you.